In the modern world, very few relationships are as complicated as tense, and as consequential as the one between the United States of America and Venezuela. Two nations, following two very different paths, yet connected by the black gold that fuels our world: oil. They are also bound by politics, power, and decades of hidden battles fought in the shadows. This isn't just a story about two countries. It's a story about money, ideology, revolutions, and the very real human consequences that follow. To understand this complex relationship, we have to go back in time, even before the United States became a global superpower. Venezuela was already one of the richest lands in the Americas. But in the early 1900s, it discovered something that would change its destiny forever: oil. Suddenly, this vast, untapped resource became the center of the world's attention. By the 1920s, Venezuela wasn't just another South American country. It had transformed into one of the planet's largest oil producers, a global energy powerhouse in the making. And where there's oil, American industry is never far behind. Giants like Standard Oil and Gulf Oil rushed in. They didn't just drill wells. They built the entire infrastructure of a modern oil state: refineries, pipelines, and massive ports to ship the product out. Money flowed into Venezuela like never before, creating immense wealth and modernizing parts of the country. But here's the catch. Most of that money flowed right back out of Venezuela and into the pockets of foreign corporations. The United States became deeply, inextricably connected to Venezuela's economy, and the pattern was set. Venezuelan leaders, enjoying the influx of cash, became dependent on American investment and political support, creating a fragile alliance built on a foundation of unequal exchange. After World War II, a new, quieter war began: the Cold War. The world was split into two camps: the United States and the Soviet Union. For America, the fear of communism spreading in its own backyard in Latin America was an obsession. Washington's strategy was clear: support any government that was friendly to U.S. interests, even if those governments were corrupt or authoritarian. Venezuela, with its massive oil reserves, was seen as a crucial ally. Its oil fueled American cars, its planes, and its factories. It was the strategic energy reserve for the Western Hemisphere. In return for this steady flow of oil, the U.S. provided a protective shield for Venezuela's political elites. This arrangement guaranteed stability, but it was a stability for the few, not the many. Beneath the surface of this prosperous partnership, anger was growing among ordinary Venezuelans. They saw their nation's incredible wealth being shipped away day after day. They saw foreign companies and their own leaders getting rich, while their own communities remained poor, underdeveloped, and left behind. This growing resentment was a powder keg, and it was only a matter of time before someone lit the fuse. Then, in 1998, everything changed. A charismatic and fiery former paratrooper named Hugo Chávez was elected president. He was a populist who spoke a language that resonated with the millions of Venezuelans who felt forgotten. He promised to take Venezuela back from foreign control and use its oil wealth for the people, and he meant it. Chávez launched his Bolivarian revolution, nationalizing the oil companies that had dominated the country for decades. He directly challenged American corporations and became one of the most vocal critics of United States foreign policy on the world stage. Washington was alarmed. The reliable flow of oil and the friendly government in Caracas were suddenly under threat. This wasn't just a business dispute. It was an ideological clash. Then, in 2002, a mysterious coup briefly removed Chavez from power. The political chaos was intense, but within just 48 hours, he returned to the presidential palace, swept back into power by a wave of popular support from his loyal followers. Many Venezuelans, and Chavez himself, were convinced that the United States had quietly supported the coup attempt. Whether true or not, the perception was what mattered. Any remaining trust between the two countries completely collapsed, setting the stage for years of open hostility. After Hugo Chávez's death from cancer in 2030, his handpicked successor, Nicolás Maduro, took power, but the world had changed. The high oil prices that had funded Chávez's social programs began to crash. As the money dried up, systemic corruption exploded, and the Venezuelan economy, which was almost entirely dependent on oil exports, went into a catastrophic freefall. Shortages of food, medicine, and basic goods became the new normal. The United States and much of the international community accused Maduro of destroying democracy, cracking down on dissent, and creating a humanitarian crisis. In response, the US government imposed crippling economic sanctions. Venezuelan government assets were frozen. Trade was blocked. The goal was to pressure Maduro's regime, but the effect was to squeeze an already collapsing economy even harder. The Maduro government, in turn, blamed America for waging economic warfare and deliberately trying to starve its people into submission. The conflict was no longer just political. It had become deeply and tragically human. Caught in the middle of this geopolitical battle, millions of Venezuelans fled their country, creating one of the largest refugee crises in the world. Today, the standoff continues. Venezuela remains home to some of the world's largest proven oil reserves. The United States still needs reliable sources of energy. Venezuela desperately needs economic relief and a path forward. But politics, pride, and the deep scars of history stand in the way. The two nations are bound together by a century of shared history, yet they seem unable to escape the cycle of conflict. The world watches, wondering if there is a way out of this impasse, or if these two countries are destined to remain adversaries. The story of America and Venezuela teaches us a powerful and timeless lesson. When valuable resources meet unchecked power, and when that power is driven by ambition and ideology, it is always the people who pay the highest price. History isn't just about governments, sanctions, or barrels of oil. It is about the lives caught in between, the families separated, and the futures lost in the crossfire of great power politics. Thanks for watching. If you found this story insightful, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shape our world.